and welcome back to a special birthday Who Would Win? So this one comes to us from, let me just get this right here, Canon Canon, who asked the question, 2 parts, and because of the topics you gave, I'm going to do both. Who would win in a spar between Luffy, Naruto, and Ichigo? And how would happen if they were to eat what would happen if they're at a ramen stand together? Which, let's be very honest here, you're just talking about an eating contest at that point. They would just chit the chat. That's all it would be. Well, so let's actually get to the ramen eating thing first, because that's going to be a simple one. Ichigo, by all accounts, is just human. He has a standard human appetite. Maybe he eats more than usual. No, your question is very simple. Who eats more, Luffy or Naruto? And if you're going to ask me that question, even though Naruto can put it away like no one's business, particularly ramen, I'm actually going to go Luffy, because we do not see Naruto have that bottomless pit of a stomach when it comes to other food. Usually, anyway. I remember when Yamato in the bridge arc, bought them food and all that, for the mission, treating them. But I don't recall Naruto eating the entire banquet table and still being hungry. Luffy, on the other hand, does. I think that has to do with the fact that his physiology is rubber, so even his organs are rubber. That means his stomach can stretch and keep filling up. He probably has a higher metabolism because of it, and he just likes meat. So, because of that, I think Luffy would actually put away more ramen than Naruto, believe it or not. So in a eating contest, I give it to Luffy. But that's neither here or there. We're talking about now them squaring off with each other in a spar. They're all just an anime crossover. They did that one point. They did a little tournament where Goku, is it Toriko or something like that, and Luffy, no, I think Naruto. They were all kind of squaring off with each other. It was kind of humorous. You can find it online. But we're not talking about an all-out fight to the death, because if that were the case, then Ichigo would kill both these guys in a heartbeat. I die on that hill. Ichigo is the strongest of the big three. But we're talking about a spar. Now, what constitutes a spar? That, I think, is how we got to define how this match is going to go. Are we talking about just hand-to-hand? Well, no, I don't think it would be just hand-to-hand. But we're not talking about going all out either, because it's just them testing each other, testing the water with each other, seeing how well the other, performs, just seeing what they can throw at each other. So you're not going to see Final Form get Bankai Ichigo. You're not going to see Baryon Mode or even Six Paths Naruto. You're not going to see Gear 4 or 5 Luffy. But that said, however, you're probably going to go beyond your just a hand-to-hand fight. Ichigo's going to have against a Gatencho. We see in Bleach all the time, the sparring match can include your blade as well. So he's definitely going to at least have his Shikais on him, or Shikai on him. Naruto, I think, what would constitute a spar, what would be the farthest point Naruto would go in a spar, I must say. Sage mode, maybe? Because at that point, Kurama's chakra, I think, again, takes it to another point. Luffy, I don't think you would see him going really beyond, say, Gear 2, maybe 3. And, again, we're talking about what constitutes a spar here. Actually, you know what? I would probably say 3. Because it's powerful. He's mitigated the weaknesses, but Gear 4 and 5 are on a whole next level. Those would be the equivalent of him going Bankai or going Baryon Mode or Fox Mode, more or less. Okay, now that we've set the parameters, who would win in a fight here? Remember also that they would be fighting each other in an all-out fight. So, who actually wins here? Well, in terms of hand-to-hand combat, I think the edge actually goes to Naruto. We've seen him. He's when he fought Momoshiki with Sasuke, his hand-to-hand prowess was second to none. It was second to none. I would then probably say Ichigo is the better hand-to-hand fighter over Luffy, because we do know he does actually know martial arts. He's generally doesn't fight hand. He fights with a blade usually, but he generally can fight very well with just his hands. Luffy is probably the least polished. He can fight, sure, but he's not a martial artist. But the problem in that part of the fight is Luffy's physiology. Doesn't matter how all out he's going or not, his body is always that of a rubber man, which means any physical blow that isn't like a blade or something that lands on him he's not going to feel it. His body's going to absorb it, and he's going to boom go back. He's going to use his base abilities, Gomu Gomu no Mi, all of that. So in a straight hand-to-hand fight, Luffy wins just because he's going to take every punch that's coming to him and dish it right back. But the spar, as we just determined, is not solely you just hand-to-hand. You also got to factor in everyone else's durability. Naruto, this is tough. With the Fox Chakra and maybe Sage Mode, he's probably more durable than Luffy, but not by much. In Fox Mode, he's definitely more durable than Luffy because he's got a chakra cloak around him. Without that, Sage Mode can definitely heighten him up, but he's not really that durable. Ichigo, however, I'd actually argue is more durable. And again, that's not me just dying on the hill that Ichigo's the strongest all out among them. That's the fact that this is a guy who in base form can take low level like lasers, all that. Hell, in Bankai, I know we're talking Bankai, but it was Bankai to Bankai, so comparable strength, even though Ichigo was the stronger. He literally just grabbed and just like squeezed apart an energy blast from Ginjo. The guy can take a beating, and beating from attacks that someone like Luffy isn't prepared for normally, at least in base form. So durability-wise, Ichigo might have the edge, but Luffy is still immensely durable. But again, durability is not everything. What about speed? On that factor, without factoring Kurama's chakra or anything like that, Ichigo's got the win there. No doubt, hands down, he's got the win because he's got Flash Step, which basically lets him move at light speed, more or less. Now, Naruto does have light speed feats, but again, he only really has those when we're talking about Sage Mode, Sage of Six Paths, well, not even Sage Mode, the Sage of Six Paths mode, Kurama Chakra. And Luffy, even if we go the Gear 3, which would be his max here, actually Gear 2 is the better option for increasing his speed, does not really have light speed feats. He doesn't, as far as I know. I don't really keep up with One Piece. But to the best of my knowledge, based on what I've always seen from him, he does not, until you get to like Joy Boy, and even then that's debatable, you don't see a lot of light speed feats when it comes to One Piece when you really break it down. You got the guy who's literally got the Pika Pika no Mi, which is the light fruit. And therefore he literally is moving at light speed, which I believe Luffy in Gear 5 did catch him and put him in a light bulb or something. I can't remember. But point being, Ichigo's got the speed advantage, okay? It's raw strength. Who's got that advantage? That one's tricky. If we're going with Luffy going all out in the spar, I'll go with Luffy. Ichigo would probably have the raw strength advantage if he's going all out in his Bankai. Naruto would have the raw strength advantage then if he's going like full-on Baryon mode. But even then, I fall on Kurama mode, like full-on Tail-based Biju mode. But that's a tough one. Who actually has the advantage physical? I'd honestly call it a wash with maybe Luffy getting the edge. So at that point, Luffy has the edge in the physical strength. He's got the edge in the durability. Ichigo's got the edge in the speed. Naruto's got the edge in hand-to-hand combat. But we're still not factoring in the X factors in this fight. Naruto has the Shadow Clones, for example, so he can literally spam himself across the battlefield. It will still allow him to go to Sage Mode, increasing his durability and access to his chakra natures. Or an access to Nature Chakra and ability to use other jutsu as well as the Frog Katanas. Now Ichigo can sense Ryatsu, and that should be able to help him avoid an unfortunate shot from that. Luffy, we know, has Haki sensing. And Luffy has all three Haki. He's got Armament Haki to increase his durability and his attack potency. He's got Conqueror's Haki to influence his opponents, which is not going to work on these two. These two are way too main character willpower to be affected by Conqueror's Haki. And then you have Perception Haki, which basically gives him kind of an Ultra Instinct, actually, more or less. So then you have Ichigo, who actually doesn't have much. This is where Ichigo falls short. He doesn't have much in terms of versatility. Naruto also got his Rasengans and elemental natures as well. But he does have his sword. He's the only one in here coming in with an actual weapon. And he's got a Getsuga Tensho. And we know, Kubo actually revealed he can split it between the single blade or the two blades if he needs to. And he's got Getsuga Tensho and Getsuga Jujitsu. Jujitsu? That one I always have trouble pronouncing. So he lacks versatility. I think he makes up for it in the raw power area in terms of energy output. Not strength, but energy output. Naruto's chakra is impressive, yes, but again, we're talking about Ichigo who's going up against individual threatening realities. No one, except for probably the god of the Otsutsuki, I don't think anyone's power directly threatens realities. So, in terms of the most versatile, it's going to be Naruto. He's got multiple clones and multiple jutsus under his belt. Then followed by Luffy, and Ichigo brings up the rear. So, who wins in the spar? I've been going over this long enough. I think Luffy is definitely the engager. Definitely, that's his personality type. Naruto and Ichigo, though, I think are the faster of the. I forgot to factor in Naruto's speed. Naruto's still insanely fast. Plus, he's got substitution jutsu as well. So, and they start out pretty light with hand to hand. Both these guys realizing while they can hit each other, Luffy's just taking this damage. He's just smiling. Now Ichigo finally is like, all right, let's crank it up just a little bit. Pulls out his sword. That's where Luffy gets more concerned, gets a lot more serious because he's not immune to blades. That is a factor of the Gomu Gomu no Mi. Is that it's rubber. He's rubber. He can take concussive force all day, every day. But blades and piercing weapons are a problem for him. And Ichigo wields the blade. So, he comes in. Naruto summons multiple clones. The clones are coming at Luffy. Luffy goes gear 2. One second here. Yeah. Sorry, the computer the TV just went black on me for a moment there. So Ichigo can just Getsuga Tensho and just throws out Getsuga Tensho, wipes out the clones. He can pretty much pinpoint, I think, where Naruto is, and where he's not using a strong enough one to really kill Naruto, just to incapacitate him. Naruto uses substitution, maybe throws a Rasengan at him, and I mean, he could throw it. I mean, we know Naruto can do that at this point. And maybe he uses the Fox Chakra sparingly, or maybe he just throws a Rasen Shuriken because he figures, all right, these guys could probably take this. And Ichigo, sure enough, gets a Tensho's class of Rasen Shuriken. There's a blast in the air. Luffy is gear 2, goes gear 3, starts whacking Naruto in Ichigo around. Ichigo, though, is able to get out of the way, as is Naruto. Naruto basically goes Sage mode, big Rasengan, clashing with Luffy. Ichigo comes in, does the Getsuga Tensho. There's a big explosion with the attacks clashing. When it's all said and done, I do see Ichigo as the winner here. Why? Because the biggest factor I think that plays into this is that Ichigo, if we're talking about Ichigo being able to fight, is not human. Actually, Ichigo isn't human even when we see him normally. He's not human. He's a hybrid. Even though he's got a human-esque body when he's fighting, which is what would have to be happening here, he's a perfect hybrid of Hollow, Human, Shinigami, and Quincy. This means he can survive far more than two humans can. Even with Luffy's insane durability, the problem is energy attacks, problematic for him. Fire, even though I don't think we ever really saw him fight any of the fire users or elemental users in One Piece too much. I know there was Crocodile with the sand, but that's not an element that would really hurt rubber at all. We're talking about elements and then there was Enel, which is what he called himself, the lightning user. He's a natural opposite. He's the natural insulator to lightning. So it's not great. Any insulator can be overcome with enough power, but he's the natural insulator to that. So that doesn't count. We're talking about fire, magma, straight light energy, anything like that. Luffy, by all accounts, should be at a disadvantage against, because rubber melts at enough heat. And you have enough energy, raw energy there, it is going to be problematic. Yeah, he can put the hockey on, But that's only going to do so much. Ichigo and Naruto are basically throwing out more energy than he's probably used to in terms of an attack. So I think Luffy would fall. And Naruto, sadly, even if he's in Sage mode, doesn't have the durability to keep up with these kind of attacks and keep taking them. Ichigo does. Ichigo has fought pretty much world enders, reality enders, you name it. He's kind of fought it on higher levels. This is why when people get into these discussions, you always got to take the scaling of the worlds into it and what they're actually doing in their respective mangas. And One Piece of these three is probably the lowest tier of strength. At best, you might have someone who might be a world level threat, but that's at best. Naruto, you definitely have world enders, and in Bleach, you have planes of existence enders, universe, and like no joke. What Yuhawa is trying to do if you're only watching the anime, spoilers ahead, but the manga's been out now forever. Yuhawa is trying to literally break down the 3 planes of existence: Hueco Mundo, the human world, and the Soul Society, which are all comparable to separate planes of existence, aka universes. Break them down and reform it into the single world / universe it was prior. That's nuts. And that's the level of power Bleach got to. So I had some person, and they realized, oh, I didn't know that. Say that, Bleach characters only get to mountain level. I'm like, are you fucking kidding? You clearly have not watched the series, man. Or read the series. Holy, Bleach characters get ridiculous. I wouldn't say, I still don't, Bleach is not the strongest verse out there. Don't get me wrong. No, it's not. Dragon Ball is very much, I think, stronger than Bleach. The only argument you can make for that is arguably the Prime Soul King. That's it. Prime Soul King is the only argument you can make to be, or like you have with the Soul King absorbed into him with the Almighty. Those are the only 2 real arguments you could make. Arguably Ichibe too, but that's a different thing. Those are 2 real arguments you can make for them being Dragon Ball levels, and even then, that's debatable. Like that's a versus I could do at some point. The Omni King versus the Soul King Prime. That's a doable one I could do, and I really don't think it'd be as clear cut and dry as you think it would be. But anyway, I digress. So yes, I do think ultimately Ichigo would win the spar, even though he's the least versatile. His sheer energy output, raw strength, his sheer speed, durability, and the fact that he's the only one wielding a weapon, which would be a problem for Luffy, and Naruto's clones just get popped out of existence from a Getsuga, I think would win the day. So the spar goes to Ichigo. The ramen battle at the ramen stand goes to Luffy. Sorry, Naruto. Now, before anyone comments, Death Battle said Death Battle has gotten Bleach wrong so many times. They've only done Bleach twice, and I'm convinced whoever's doing the goddamn research on that show does not understand the cosmology of Bleach at all. So, look, I want Bleach to get better show. I also don't like that Aizen Madara fight. Aizen could have lost, and he did lose. But I wouldn't have cared so much if they just portrayed him properly. They did not. That was not Aizen they were portraying at all. So, or at least that was a very bad version of Aizen they were portraying. Madara, that made a lot more sense, actually, but no, that was a bad portrayal of Aizen. Anyway, I digress. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you folks for the next one. Have a good one, everyone.